What is going on, guys? I apologize for some technical difficulties. I believe we should be live now. I'm just going to quickly double check and make sure we are. Let's see here. All right, here we go. Awesome. So we are live. I'm just going to approve everybody who is missing. If you haven't added people to the group, I'm just going to make sure you're able to. Okay, 1 second. There we go. I got Dr. Michael on now.
Allegedly.
And what's up, Doc? Yeah, just mute yourself for a second and turn on your video. Let's see if I need to. It's my first time doing it like this, so just give me a second, guys. Why can't you turn on your video? All right, there we go, got you. All right, perfect. So now we're back in business. Sorry about that, guys. So Dr. Michael's gonna be jumping out with us in a moment. I'm just gonna make sure that we are all good to go in the Facebook group. So go ahead, and all the comments are gonna be happening on the Facebook live chat. I'm gonna be monitoring that and checking that out, and we're gonna be getting right into stuff. So basically the goal for this tonight is to give you guys a lot of clarity on just how powerful and special this technology is in your life. Now, a lot of you came through the doors to what we're doing with the business, and that was the primary focus for you. So you came through most likely some form of online advertising, and there are a lot of you who also got started with simply the product as someone shared it with you or recommended it to you, or maybe you were dealing with some health issues and whatnot. But a large percentage of our organization today is coming through the online model. We're replacing ads, we're promoting the lifestyle and the business and whatnot, and you go through the coaching process and you understand that the products are valuable. You understand that there is something special and unique about Enagic, and you also see the potential in the business. Now, what we're gonna start doing a lot more of, this is kind of episode 1 or part 1, if you will, is really giving you guys a ton of clarity on just how powerful this product is with the machine, the K8, SD501, there's some other machines as well. We're actually gonna share with you why we always recommend the K8 and the SD501 and what the difference is between the other machines in terms of its power to impact your health and protect your health and even reverse some potential things you might be dealing with, or giving your body what it needs to be able to do that. And that's why I got a doctor on here with us, because he's going to give it to you really from that scientific angle, but more importantly also in layman's terms, so we're not sitting here like, what the hell is he talking about? Dr. Michael is one of the best people at taking complex, scientific, complicated explanations and breaking them down to a way where anybody, you and I, who hasn't gone to med school or any sort of background in holistic nutrition or health or chiropractic or any of those things, can still be like, wow, okay, this is incredible. So we're gonna start off a little bit of background, okay? So I wanna let you know already that I've had a machine in my life, thanks to my mom, for 10 years in May this year. So it's been 10 years that I've had kangen water in my life, which is freaking crazy actually to say that out loud, because that's a long time. But for those of you who don't know the full backstory, the reason we found Enagic, the reason we found kangen water was actually because I was dealing with a lot of health problems. I was dealing with digestion issues since I was a little boy. We had gone down the traditional path of going to the doctor, going to the hospital, and trying to figure out what's going on with me, because from the outside looking in, everything seemed really good. It seemed super healthy. My mom was cooking healthy. I was playing sports. I wasn't overweight. There was no, external signs that something was wrong. I had no allergies when I went for allergy testing. All those things we tried, different supplements, this, that, and the other thing, and nothing worked. So as I got a little older, I started getting these serious stomach cramps, but it wasn't like a stomach ache because you probably have had one of those. It was more like my guts getting ripped out, to put it lightly, as like one of those ditch diggers was clawing inside my stomach. And at the same exact time, gas was like building where I felt like my stomach was gonna pop, like literally explode. And the last second, right before that feeling of like, I'm gonna burst, it would like shift, the gas would like turn and it would go down and it would be like a sigh of relief and it would start to build back up. And this continuously happened for a long time. And every few months I would have one of these attacks, got worse and worse. Eventually they determined I had a condition called gall sludge. So it was kind of like gallstones, if you've ever heard of that before. And it was like hundreds of tiny little sand particle stones as opposed to a big solid one that people have. And they didn't know what was wrong. So they put me on the IV. I'd stay in the hospital multiple times. And finally, I went to 3 different specialists. When I was in grade 11, so like 16 years old, they said, you got to get your gallbladder out. And that's the only solution to this problem. And that's after all the different supplements, trying to change my diet, holistic, different things, all kinds of stuff. And that was the solution. So of course we didn't want to have surgery or remove stuff if there was a better way. But unfortunately at that time, we didn't know of a better way. So fast forward a bunch of years later, my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer. He battled that for 7 years, off and on and everything. And then he actually passed away 8 months before we found kangen water, which was many years after I still had these stomach issues. So the real passion behind the business lies with the potential power of the products. Without the products, there is no business. There's no online, there's no success stories, there's no happy ending, there's nothing. So if we're promoting a garbage product or like these other businesses that are inside the industry, we wouldn't have this. This is literally a perfect storm between product health and then business in terms of a Enagic's compensation plan, and then the engine that powers all of it, which is our online model. So we don't have to recruit friends and family to make a buck. We can genuinely share this with them because we know it's gonna help them, but we're already successful over here making money. So it's not about that, right? Which flips the whole entire network marketing model on its head and takes out the shitty stuff, both in Enagic's comp plan, it removes the shitty stuff, but also in terms of the model itself of network marketing, it just completely crushes all of it. So our goal here tonight with Dr. Michael and myself is for you to understand what you really have here and for your belief to go way beyond 100%. I know most of you who purchased the products or the machine or purchased the trifectas and whatnot, all of you believe these products help. You all believe they work, or else I would assume you wouldn't have made that investment, right? But what we really want to do here is for you to be a diehard, absolute fanatic of what this really does and be a living example of it yourself. Preach do what you preach. So for the most part, there's people in here who barely drink the water. They don't have enough water. They're not taking the Ukon regularly. Their Anespa's still in the box in the garage. And it's tragic. It's tragic when that happens, when you really know what you bought, what it could do, and why the hell you should be obsessively using it daily. You know what I mean? So we're going to kind of start at the beginning. We're going to start big picture. Assume you know nothing, even though we know a lot of you know stuff. But we're going to start this week. Maybe an hour, maybe 2. We don't really know for sure. Things get crazy sometimes. But we're going to start with sort of the basics, the overview. There will be some new amazing information that you don't know. Then we're going to save the chat, so the questions and whatnot, towards the end. And any questions we don't get into for later, please ask them anyway, because our goal and our intention is to keep having, maybe weekly, we don't know yet, but definitely frequently, we're going to have these kinds of opportunities for you guys to come on with your questions, report back to us, maybe what you're dealing with your health, or any of those kinds of stuff, this is going to be a safe place to talk product, talk shop, talk science, specifically to do with the Magic. It's a private community. This information is just for our team. Dr. Michael's nice enough to kind of volunteer his time and really add a lot of value. And his story, this is where we're going to get started, okay? His story now today is a beautiful, happy story of love and compassion and, you know, parents fighting to do whatever it takes to save their kids' lives. The beautiful story. But when this story began, it wasn't like that. It was a nightmare. It was like heart-wrenching and heartbreaking. And there's still some level of that, of course, that exists, you know, never goes away, that Dr. Michael and his wife, Abby, are dealing with. But when you hear the story and when you hear what Enagic did for the Donaldson family and for Skylar, it's you're gonna cry. Like I'm already about to cry, and it's that deep, it's that powerful. And the thing is that there are countless stories like this already inside of the community right now. You have most likely heard of someone you work with, a business partner, my story, different stories. You've heard absolutely miracle type stories, and there's endless amounts. If you have one already, feel free to share a testimonial of what the water did for you in the comments right now. Just quickly share, right? Because some people still don't realize what it is, and they're drinking it, they're consuming it, they're using it, they're getting these incredible results, but they could never know what's really happening. So we're going to try to give some clarity to what is really going on, so you value and appreciate this even more than you already do. And then it's going to take everything to the next level, because when you have that level of belief in what we're doing, even when you're placing your ads, even when you're doing a webinar, even when you're doing a coaching call where you're not necessarily talking about the products directly, your belief in this stuff is going to come through. You know what I mean? Like your closing, everything's going to be 100%, because when someone says they can't afford it, you're going to be like, no. Like you're going to buy this thing and you must have it. And everything changes instead of letting people get away with these bullshit excuses and whatnot, because we simply don't know better. Our conviction isn't there, and our belief isn't bulletproof, you know? So that's why after this information really sinks in with you, you're not going to want to ever build a business in this industry outside of Enagic. There's no need for it, because it is that kind of perfect storm of products, value, changing people's health, changing people's finances. And then what we did with what we created in the last couple of years is just like the entire company and industry doesn't even really understand yet, right? So like we're just absolutely crushing it. So with that being said, guys, I'm so excited to introduce a good friend of mine. I met Dr. Michael 4 years ago now. We've stayed in touch. He's been one of my biggest fans and supporters and encouragers, kind of from the outside looking in, which means the world to me. So thank you, brother, for that. It's been amazing what you've done for us. And I want him to come in here and share his story about his daughter, Skylar, first, and then kind of take it from there. And we'll do it like, we're going to chop it into almost like a question answer sort of interview. And then that way, after this is done, my goal and my plan is to take this information, chop it into FAQ, smaller bite-sized videos. And then the leaders who are watching this, or your teams who are watching this, let me know, shoot me a message. If you're running your own Facebook group, you're running your own system, you're doing your own stuff, it's amazing. We are going to share this product knowledge for all of your guys' teams. Plug it in your back office, plug it in your Facebook group, your communities, whatever. And then when people have those questions, it's going to be nice and simple to find the answers regarding the products and whatnot. So that's the goal. And obviously that's going to take several of these live webinars to get all that information into your hands. But we're going to make it happen, and we're committed to that. So without further ado, Dr. Michael, thanks for being on, brother. I'll pass it over to you. I'll kind of mute myself and you take it away, brother.
Absolutely. You don't need to mute yourself. I'd actually rather you didn't. That way you can interject when you need to. It's actually coming up on 5 years ago that we were in Japan together. That's great.
It will be 5 years in June this year. Yeah, it's been 5 years, man. That's crazy.
It is crazy. Time has flown, and I believe at that time I outranked you, and now you've just crushed me.
Well, I got a great team, man. I was a 4A when we met, and I think you were 6A already.
Yeah, I was. the doctor's office didn't hurt at all. But yeah, we got started in this, and I've got slides ready for whatever you want. So we'll work the transitions as necessary. But I can totally start with Skylar, and that really is the best place to begin. Let's see if I can share the screen, and then just let me know what's going on. Let's see, there it is. Can we see it?
We can see perfect, thanks.
Perfect, from the beginning, all right. So, good, and there you are on the side. It's all perfect, love and life. And if somebody has questions and you want to handle them, you just let me know and we'll run through it. But yeah, Abby and I started a destination-based thing, and it's called Doctors Michael and Abby Explain, and we do the energetic lifestyle. And our destination-based wellness came out of everything that we've learned from Skylar. We're chiropractors by profession, but we focus in on functional medicine, functional neurology, all the cold lasers, foot baths, detox and stuff. But Skylar was actually born in 2009, and that's kind of what we call our school of hard knocks. Gastroschisis is what she had, and it's an acute dehydration syndrome. And what that basically means is she would lose 20% of her body weight in hours. Gastroschisis is pretty horrific. This was the first picture we had of our baby girl. She was everything you see in that tube, everything was inside out. It was stomach, liver, pancreas, spleen, small intestine, large intestine, bladder, right ovary, the whole bit. And they finally got stuff put back in a silo, and it's just intestines. Well, the intestines ended up rupturing, and it was really touch and go. And this was a picture of her holding my pinky at that time. And I had actually made the promise to her that I'll move heaven and earth and do whatever it takes to make sure you get well. And kept my word. But it got worse from there. For the following week, the bowel actually ruptured, and she got a septic infection inside the bowel, inside the body. And it really went downhill fast. You can actually see Lexi there playing ball with her. She would actually stand there and rock the crib. It's kind of scary when your daughter wakes up and says, "Can we go to the hospital and see my sister?" But here's where dehydration came in. This was a good day. Actually, it was a good few hours where we had the hose out of her nose. She had had her first colostomy. They had reversed the colostomy and sent her home to see. She was home for about 30 hours. What happened was, this was one picture, and then this was 4 hours later after they revived her from dehydration. We almost lost her in the transport getting her to the hospital. They actually told me, don't wait for 911. When you call 911, get a police escort, not an ambulance, because they won't be able to tap her vein in the ambulance. So we did that several times, and she ended up having another colostomy, and then they did a resection where they took out part of her bowel. And you can see this thing here is called a Mickey button. Somebody goes, why is it a Mickey? It's what it is. It's a key, and it's got a balloon on the inside. And so we did force feeds that went right straight through to her stomach. When you show up at Scottish Rite, everybody's seen the TV shows where there's triage and the doctors are like running around and whoever's the worst. We actually had the doctors come out into the parking lot and take Skylar out of the car. The first time it happens, you're like, oh Lord, no, not now. 4 or 5 times, you become an expert in whatever it takes. And so we did water filters, we went through water ionizers and that hoax, if you will, because there's a lot of garbage out there. There really is. Biggest problem we found was she ended up having mold issues and then heavy metal toxicity, and we couldn't figure out a source. Ends up it was the water ionizer that we had. The Enagic machine was actually the 9th machine we tried. And I have since been through about 40 that I've tested. And we still have an Enagic machine on the counter. A lot of the stuff you hear about alkaline water ionizers is true. They're really, really dangerous unless you have a good one. At the point that we discovered this, Skylar was on force feeds 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it was a liquid diet. So every morning she would literally blow out, fill the crib, sheets, blankets, run down the crib. She had gas distension, and she was literally inflamed. So when Amy came into our lives, she was like, oh, I can help. She needs to try my water. And I was like, no, 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 no. 6 weeks later, we got the diagnosis that she was at failure to thrive, and Amy was in the room. Many of you have skeptics and people that are antagonistic. I was a defining end of that. And she literally looked at me and said, you know what? Skylar doesn't have to suffer because you're too stubborn to try the water. I'll give it to you for free. And when I did, it was amazing because in 4 days, literally 80% of her symptoms cleared up. In 10 days, she had her first solid bowel moment, which was actually kind of funny because she thought a snake had crawled out of her belly because she had never had a solid bowel moment. She's like, there's a snake in the potty. Within 6 months, we removed the feeding port. 3 weeks after we removed the feeding port was when we went to Japan and met you. And so that was kind of an emotional upheaval. This was her at 6 months. This is her today. She's great, but why the water? Not sure where you wanted to go next, but if you want, I was just going to jump into what makes this water different, what it stands against other machines, unless you got something else you want me to do.
Yeah, man, that's just such a insane story that we just as a direct example of what you just shared, it's like, here I was being like, ooh, my stomach, it was so sore. And I'm like, man, I had like a walk in the park compared to what you guys went through and what Skylar went through as a child, as a small baby. So the fact that you guys didn't give up and found this water and now have turned that into like your mission and message to impact and help other people is just incredible, man. So thanks again for sharing. I know that's not an easy thing to share, but it's just, I think that everybody, the comments are going nuts right now with just amazing stories. She's beautiful. Like, thanks for sharing. And it's just a lot of love being poured to you and the family. So thanks so much, brother. And
am I supposed to be looking somewhere else for comments?
Yeah, the comments are in the GPM Kangen Water Facebook group.
There we go.
That's where, there you go. You got it. So you can see them all. But that's where all the comments are, because only you and I are on Zoom and they're all in the Facebook group streaming live. So
Cool.
Now, where I kind of wanted to take this is, I'll let you do your presentation, definitely, because I know you got it set up, but some of the stuff
we can totally interview. It's fine. I can bounce around if I need to.
Yeah, so hold on a second. I just want to find my notes I sent you earlier. So the first part I really want to, I guess, is the same as you, is just why Kangen water? You know, you tested 40 machines. You are on this pursuit to see, is there something better out there? There's always companies comparing themselves to Enagic, just trying to kind of steal the market share and all this kind of sleazy marketing, which, side note for 1 second, is actually how my mom found Enagic. So even though it pisses us off now that this is like a career choice of ours, I'm super grateful for those assholes, because them talking smack about Enagic was actually what we found on Google first. Then my mom found like multiple different companies, multiple different websites bashing Enagic. And I'm so grateful that my mom is, wise enough to be like, why would you ever compare yourself to any other company or product unless it was the best? You never see the top brands in any industry in the world ever compare themselves to any other brand in their niche unless they're inferior, trying to catch up or pull themselves up. So my mom knew this, which I'm so grateful she did. And she's like, oh, what's this Enagic company they're talking shit about? And then went and researched them, and she was like, this sounds way better than that shit. And it was really cool. And that's how everything happened 10 years ago. So side note is, you're now looking at it from more of an objective point of view, and you're testing these things scientifically with all kinds of cool gadgets.
I mean, I've got machines that have been taken apart, and I've got some slides in here. We'll get through some of them quicker. And when, like you said, when we do more stuff, we can focus in on everything. This was kind of like an overview on all of it, but yeah.
Yeah, so let's start with that. So my first place that I really wanted to kind of dive deep is why kangen water and a little bit about the science behind the properties of the water. So just go from there.
Okay, well, we'll run with it. So basically the answer to your question of why water, well, those that know us, we're on Facebook. We got a ton of friends from Enagic, and everybody knows that we do all different kinds of things. And the bottom line is we've kind of perfected how to rebuild the body from the inside out. We deal with all the crazy conditions, and we do all the blood typing and the diets and the foods and the neurology, but it doesn't really matter what you do if 72% of the equation isn't right. And everybody is 72% water. And so if you don't have the best possible water in your body, that's something else you're having to fix. Not all water is created the same. And this is kind of the order of danger for human consumption. Distilled water is absolutely the worst. The second is reverse osmosis. The reason distilled water and reverse osmosis are so bad is because they pull all the minerals out of the body. They're actually directly linked to the rapid onset osteoporosis and MS. Filtered water is contaminated water that they've tried to clean up. Alkaline water is just water that has more minerals that are alkaline than acidic. Ionized water has got water that's got an electric charge. Every single machine that I've tested so far is alkaline ionized water, which means they add a the chemistry, the minerals, the calcium, magnesium, potassium in, and then they hit it with electric current. There's something else out there that's called electrolyzed reduced water, and that's what kangen water is. They're not adding anything into the water. You can actually take the filter cartridge out of this with a home filtration unit and hit this, and it will come out alkaline. Because what's happening is it's blowing the water apart. And I'll describe that in a minute. But I just want to clarify that one thing that a lot of people say is, oh, it cured me of this, it cured me of that. No, it didn't. Make sure you don't make claims like that when you're posting, you're talking to people. Yes, this water was the missing piece for Skylar's health. Absolutely, hands down, it was the piece. But it was still just a piece. We were no longer giving her acid water. Well, that's a piece. We removed the acid and now we added something beneficial. Now that's two pieces. The fact that she was on enzymes, probiotics, all that stuff. So you got to realize what the science is. When it's all said and done, this is just simply the best possible way to hydrate the body. In hydrating the body, that's where you get the good stuff in and the bad stuff out. Like I said, be careful about the cure, making medical claims. I'm all about protecting the ship, and I know you are too, Balazs, and I've seen your stuff. You can talk your stories, but me saying that it was absolutely the missing piece is not the same thing as saying kangen cured Skylar. And it's not true. It was the combination of what we did, and that was the piece. And so just make sure the way that you phrase it, because this is helping a lot of people. So really make sure you take care of the company. Long story short, here's how the water works. We have a real pretty aquarium here. The pH is balanced. You got coral, you got bacteria, you've got fish, you got anemones, you got oxygenators, you got filters. And what's going on right here is, if you took this right now and you dumped a 2-liter bottle of Sprite into that water, you'd kill all those fish. That's probably a 200-gallon tank, and you'd kill all the fish. Because the pH and the chemicals get messed up, the filtration can't take care of it, and you eliminate all the oxygen. So what you end up with is a crummy fish tank. When you started kangen water, you had a crummy fish tank. Now I can just change the water in here and you'll get a little bit better, but if I don't stop putting all the garbage in there and clean up the tank, the fish are still going to get sick. And that's what this does. There's a process called cellular respiration. Basically, the inside of the cell and the outside of the cell, what gets good stuff in and bad stuff out, is what we're working with to clean up your body. There's this thing that they discovered in 2005, which was 30 years after Enagic started. What they figured out when they talk about return to origin in electric water is water that's designed to fit into this aquaporin. Here I am pointing at the screen. And that's why it works so much faster, because you can carry the oxygen, hydrogen, and hydroxyl in and pull the lactic acid and cellular waste out. If you look at this thing here, you're going to see this 6 represents the aquaporin. You have this stuff in your cells that's called hemoglobin. That's metabolic iron. Well, when your cells pulse with your heartbeat, they sink. They move like a jellyfish. They're squeezing out toxins and bringing in the good stuff. Squeezing out toxins, bringing in the good stuff. CO2 toxins out, oxygen nutrition in. Well, down here, you'll notice that there's this cluster of water molecules that's 16 to 25 molecules. You're not changing the size of the water molecule, you're changing the size of the cluster. It's technically an electrostatic charge. This right here will not fit in that hole. It has to be broken apart. And that's really all the kangen water does, is it breaks the water apart so that you can get it into the cell better. People say, well, how can you say it's natural when you're using electricity? I love the ocean. I love an electrical storm, and you can sit there and you can just feel the energy and you can feel the oxygen. There's no rain. The earth is normalizing its system, and it's creating an ocean full of electrolyzed reduced water. It's interesting that the charge lasts 3 or 4 days, which is where the Japanese, who got their technology from the Russians, mimic this. That's why it lasts that way. When you get that feeling, what you're actually feeling is the disassociation of the water molecule. You can look this up. Dissociation means it's just taking H2O and it hits it with a huge electric charge and it makes the bonds burst. That's all it does. So you get H2O and now you have a free hydrogen and a free hydroxyl. Sometimes you end up with a couple free oxygen. So you end up with these 4 components. These are the actual components of the water that matter. There's hydrogen, oxygen, hydroxyl, and the water's been restructured to get into the cells better. This hydrogen charges your cell membrane. The oxygen gives your mitochondria energy. This right here is why the water helps with Otto Warburg's cancer protocols, because he proved that if you reduce a cell's oxygen by 35% over 48 hours, the mitochondria shuts down and you burn glycolysis. That's the prime cause of cancer. There's a lot of misinformation going on. Otto Warburg stated that no disease can exist in an alkaline environment. If you use that, stop. You are wrong. You are discrediting yourself. Google alkaline conditions. There's hundreds of them. I can take a Sprite, pour 4 tablespoons of baking soda into it, have you drink it, and it's alkaline, and it will make you very, very sick. It's the decreased level of oxygen. Increased levels of oxygen and hydroxyl tend to create an alkaline environment, but it's the oxygen and hydroxyl that makes it effective. Just clarifying. Biggest difference is it's electrical versus chemical. Most people will go, well, alkaline water will mess up your stomach. Yes, it will. Electrolyzed reduced water won't, because it's not changing the chemical structure. You're not saying, oh, this is alkaline, so add acids. Interestingly enough, all your bottled waters from Dasani, Aquafina, Deer Park, they're all really acidic, so you have to dump calcium bicarbonate into it to neutralize the acid level so that your body can run it through, which is where it's pulling it out of your bones and your matrix. Another thing about electrolyzed reduced water, you set that jug down 3 or 4 days later, it's neutral. It's not going to build up in your tissues. You can take some of these alkaline waters that you buy in the bottle that have calcium. You can bury them in the ground and come back 5 years later and they're still alkaline. And what happens is those minerals will build up in the tissues. This doesn't happen. I currently, as of this week, because I was doing a whole new doctor's packet for physicians, there's no negative research on electrolyzed reduced water. There's absolutely no contraindication for ERW anywhere. Here's the cell membrane. You can see the hydrogens here. They actually charge that cell membrane so the oxygen can go in. Krebs cycle runs, and now you have garbage in here. The hydroxyl pulls it out. That's just what it does. And how it does it is they took the concept of the lightning strike and they have medical grade plates with enough energy in the system, the size of a coffee pot, that it takes that cluster of water molecules and breaks it into smaller and smaller clusters. Every time you see this little negative sign here, you're creating an oxygen and a hydrogen and a hydroxyl. So the higher the pH on this, the smaller it's breaking the cluster down. So the pH is misleading. It's not really the pH, it's the amount of reduction that the water goes through to create the hydrogen, oxygen, hydroxyl. If you think of it differently, this cluster of grapes represents a cluster of water molecules. They're just clumped together. When you get them all energized, they roll around and they get all loose. Well, if this is your cell and you have to get all of these grapes in that hole, you're going to pull those off. If you try to cram that in there, it's just not going to work. That's how it goes in easy. Most people ask me, well, how much do I drink? Shorter answer is you want to drink 1/2 of your body weight in ounces per day on a bad day. Say it again. You want to drink half your body weight in ounces per day on a bad day. So you should be drinking between 75% of your body weight in ounces per day is really ideal. More, you'll flush. If you work out really hard and you have more lactic acid, you're going to want to push up 100% of your body weight. So you're like, well, I have 240 pounds. Yeah, and if you don't drink 180 ounces, you're going to be dehydrated and your toxins are going to build up. You're going to retain fluids. You're going to swell. The scariest thing is one 12-ounce can of Sprite can be used to destroy 18 gallons, not cups, 18 gallons of high energy water. One soda. It's actually more dangerous than cigarettes. So regular health, 50% of your weight and body weight is minimum. Acute health issues, 75%. Chronic health issues, 100% of your body weight in ounces. Disclaimer there are a couple of health conditions where the physicians will actually limit your intake of water. So for instance, somebody with congestive heart failure and they've got water around the heart, they'll limit them to 48 to 64 ounces a day and build up from there. This is still the best 48 to 64 ounces of water they can get because the heart no longer has to produce all of the electric current for the cardiovascular system, so it greatly reduces the stress. And I actually have that measured at Emory here in Atlanta. Keep going, we good? All right, so pH scale. Red will make you rust and blue will make you beautiful. Bottom line, this is healthier, this is oxidation. You need that, do you? Remember that picture I said you got hemoglobin in here? Hemoglobin is metabolic iron. If you leave it outside, your tools outside, they rust. Well, remember that whole oxidative stress? If the hemoglobin is in an acidic environment and it rusts, it can't carry oxygen. So you now have another reason why you've dropped your oxygen levels. If you start looking at all these amazing bottled waters with great pHs, you'll see they all have an oxidative stress. There's real water and there's an agic water. Those are the only negatives in there. That means they can have extra electrons to donate. And it's a lot cheaper. This is a test that I ran for people, and I used to do it in a demo, and I decided to put the picture in here. I should probably do a video, but we'll do one of these live. It's kind of fun. This is 32 ounces of water, and I put the drops in it. You can see it's a nice solid 9.5. There's a tablespoon of Sprite in here, and it's this bright orange color. Now, I used to like, God, I drank more Mountain Dew in high school than you can imagine. But I really liked Full Throttles, and I'd have 1 or 2 a month because I knew they weren't so good for me. And then I did this, and I had to stop because I would drink a couple extra glasses of water if I had a soda because, you know, I was trying to balance it out. Couldn't do 18 gallons. So what I did is I took this right Where'd my mouse go? There you go. I took this right here and I poured this water into it. So you have a tablespoon in there. I filled a 6-ounce cup and now I have 6 ounces of acid. This right here, I ended up pouring that diluted tablespoon of soda into 32 ounces. 1 tablespoon. And by the time I'm done pouring, that whole thing is destroyed. I know I'm going to make a lot of people upset right now, but how many people throw lemon in your water? Don't do it. Take your kangen water, fill up 32 ounces, put the drops in it and squeeze your lemon into it. Tell me what the result is. This water right here no longer has any oxygen or hydrogen available in it. The reason I used a 32-ounce pitcher is, one, really, it's because I had it. But how many people go to the fast food places and say, supersize it, I'll get the 32-ounce? You're drinking 32 ounces or 2 full pounds of acid. Think about that. That was the damage that was done with a tablespoon. I'm going to skip right into explaining, some of the other properties of the machine, if that's cool with you. All right. Most people today are trying to be healthier and trying to get stuff done. We're going to fruits and veggies. We're getting away from carbs. Anybody who thinks that they should be eating 6 to 11 servings of breads, pastas, grains, starches, or cereals.
Hey, Doc, quick question. Someone's asking, is lime any different than lemon?
Oh, I know the answer to that. Go ahead and try it. Don't take my word for it.
What's the actual answer? They'll take your word for it.
I know, that's why I said go check. No, it's bad. It's an acid.
All right, sweet.
The reason that lemon has an alkalizing effect on the body is because it so stresses the system that it causes your pancreas to contract and it excrete the only enzyme in the body that's got a pH of 8.8 to neutralize it.
Wow.
So do we use it? Yes. When? Well, when we're trying to get the pancreas refreshed, doing a cleanse, but people are always just squeezing lemon juice in their water. So it's just something to be careful of.
Are you guys, does everyone have a pen and paper and making a list of all the shit they got to stop doing?
Hey,
they're
anti-aging.
They're gonna all hate me now. They're gonna be like, fuck.
No, they've already got all the answers.
No, I'm just kidding. It's a love-hate thing, they hate for a few minutes and then they love later when they get healthier and feel better.
Story of my life. So you start eating all these fruits and veggies and you're like, I'm doing good stuff. Well, we actually, when we bought the water, we were not interested in the business at all. I want this for my daughter. Oh, but there's a W9 and you can, no, my daughter's dying. I don't need to start a business. And we're going to get it so she can drink it. Well, she got to drinking it, got better, but her bowel would really get inflamed when she started eating fruits and veggies. And we're like, so we had the machine for probably a year before we cleaned any of our fruits and veggies.
And yeah, that's actually a big one because I've ran into people who I know are building the business, they're doing well, they're successful, they got lots of sales and whatnot, and then I would bring it up somehow, talking about washing fruits and veggies and this and that, and those other features on the machine, and they're like, oh, what? I don't do any of that stuff. And I'm like, man, we got to get you guys really using this thing, it's like having a Lambo in the garage and only taking selfies with it and not taking it for a rip.
I have machines in Africa, New Zealand, and the Australian outback where the whole clinic is the machine. When you realize what you can do with this clinically. It's crazy. Yeah, we'll stick with the basics right now.
Let me touch on a couple quick questions here. So someone is saying, I don't know if you know this or whatever, but Tammy said lemon juice is great for our kidneys if you drink it straight. True or false?
Not all the time. The true and false. The problem with what they're trying to do with that is purify the blood. And there's some research that's coming out with the acidity of really intense doses of vitamin C that are highly beneficial. But the reason people get kidney stones is because their body is so acidic that any fluid that comes into the kidney is first passed over a calcium stone to neutralize it so you don't digest the kidney. Is it effective? Yes. Are there better things to do? In my opinion.
Like what?
Well, even the hypochlorous, but your salts come into play here. Your salts come into play. When you start bringing up the acids, you got to be really careful because most people don't realize that eating meat, highly acidic. The best use of the lemon that we have found from a true functional standpoint is it helps aid in some digestion, especially if you have a congested pancreas and liver. And then you do kind of a cleanse, and then you do some liver issues. Some lemon juice, and it causes the pancreas to really contract, regulates and exchanges the enzymes that are produced there, unclogs the ducts and things like that.
All right.
As far as good for the kidney, not so much because it is too acidic.
If you guys have questions, guys, keep throwing them in the chat. I'm going to let Dr. Michael continue, but we'll spend some time on Q&A at the end. So keep going, boss.
Okay. So anyways, we're teaching our children better habits and they're learning about organic and all that. But here's the problem. The pesticides that are sprayed on the fruits and veggies. This is not some great grand conspiracy where the government is trying to kill us all. The reality is the farmers are going, look, I don't want to have to reapply my pesticides every time it rains. Give me something that doesn't wash off. So pesticides now are all petroleum based, so they're waterproof, which means they don't wash off in the sink. So if you're eating lots of fruits and veggies and you're just still rinsing them off in the sink, hello, you have 11.5, use it. These were tomatoes that were washed in tap water, and then I rinsed them with the 11.5 for 60 seconds, and that's what came off. Don't take my word for it. Go buy some. Another huge issue. When you start talking to people about bottled water, and there's a couple of people that we've run into that are selling high-end bottled waters and stuff, and I'm like, okay. They're like, yeah, it's only $1.25 a liter. I said, cool, I need 6 gallons a day. You're like, what do you need 6 gallons of water a day for? I drink a gallon, my wife drinks a gallon, my son drinks a gallon, my daughter drinks a gallon. My little ones drink a half gallon each, so there's 5 gallons, and then another gallon for cooking. You use it for cooking? Well, yeah. Here's the thing. Most municipal water supplies are full of chlorine and contaminants. Chlorine is an iodine inhibitor, which means that your body can't absorb iodine in the thyroid, so now you have thyroid disease because you take a bath and cook with chlorinated water. You have to get rid of it. A lot of times people do the tomato test. A lot of people I found didn't like tomatoes, so I started to do my apples. Take one apple, slice it in half, cut it up in slices, cut the other half in slices, put one half in tap water, put one half in 9.5 water, and taste the difference. What you'll find is after the apple's been in the water for 30 seconds, you can pour the water out and put the yellow drops in it. There's no chlorine left in the water because it's all in the apples. People boil their potatoes, their carrots, their veggies. So they literally filter the water with all the veggies and then eat the veggies. So they get the concentrated chlorine. Another thing that people don't realize, 11.5 is a natural degreaser. Pets love it. Biggest plus to the SD501 and the K8 is the disinfectant chart. This point alone is worth $8,000. So that one button. people have seen this, but they don't really know what the chart means. This right here is hypochlorous acid. Strong electrolyzed acid water 2.6 translates into this. How many people here, okay, I'm going to see if I can give this a whirl. I haven't done this. How many people here have seen the tie-in video where they say, oh, it's old technology and you have to use a bleach solution, blah, 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 to produce 2.5 water? That statement alone clarifies they have no clue what they're talking about. It's not that you can't produce 2.5 water without the solution. You can. Take it out and try it. What you can't produce is hypochlorous acid. That's when you take salt, which is NaCl, H2O, you blow it apart and you get HOCl. That kills everything. And when I say everything, I mean take your worst viruses known to the CDC here in Atlanta and have it in the lab and have them test it. I have. It kills everything. This over here, sodium hypochlorite, is bleach. The only reason there's a little bit of hypochlorite in the solution is because in order to ship it, it has to have that to keep down bacterial overgrowth. So here's the way your percentages actually work. If you send your solution to a lab, which I did, and have it break it apart, which I did, you'll find that there is approximately, if you have contaminated water, you're going to add 16 drops of bleach per gallon of water. There is approximately 4 drops of bleach per gallon of solution. And what that translates into is now you take 8 ounces of that gallon, which is a quarter of a drop, and you make 10 gallons of hypo. You're not getting any of that in the machine. It's just a preservative. What you are getting is that chloride ion that gets ripped off, binds to hydroxyl, and that will kill anything that you can, any surface you can spray it on. How about kids in nurseries, daycare centers, schools, hospitals, nursing homes, wound care? Cut yourself. Kids have the flu. That 2.5 is the most powerful sterilant there is available right now. In fact, let me see. That's the, oh yeah, I kind of got ahead of myself. It's an $8,000 difference. The average cost of a hypochlorous acid machine that produces the same output as the SD501, not even the super, just the standard SD501 is $8,000, but it doesn't give you 11.5 to wash your fruits and veggies. The FDA approved hypochlorous acid for sterilization. If you take regular tap water and create 2.5 water with no solution, it does not produce hypochlorous acid. Let's say that again. Every other machine on the market that brags about not having the solution can't produce this. This is where you get your all your medical approvals in Japan. It's based on the 2.5 for sterilization, not 9.5 for drinking. You can treat wounds with this stuff. You know, all those other machines, they don't produce this. It is the only one. You are the category king. Next conversation. Here's how you make it. H2O blows apart to hydrogen hydroxyl. Salt blows apart to sodium chloride. You take these two together and you have hypochlorous acid. The best part is it's 100% biodegradable. It's bioavailable. If you accidentally drink it, it won't kill you, but it'll get rid of all the bacteria and you have to eat enzymes and probiotics. They discovered it in the neutrophils. If you ever cut your finger and your mom said, let it bleed, you'll sterilize it, that's why. These are studies that I've had that have been done. Strep, E. coli, MRSA, Kripke, kills them all. I've now got several independent lab reports showing the sterilization. I think I uploaded this up to whatever site you asked me to, Balazs. So you have it in the files somewhere. Now, these are my case studies. Don't go, oh, Dr. Michael said. I worked and co-managed all of these cases with other people's regular healthcare providers. This is educational, it's an understanding. If you have a serious wound, go get it looked at. Don't go, I have water, Dr. Michaels said. So this was MRSA, individuals getting ready to have their thumb amputated. 2.5, 11.5 protocols saved the thumb. This was a wound on the head. You'll notice how it is not bleeding profusely because it was sprayed with 2.5. It was surgically treated, and then the 11.5 and 2.5 was used for the treatment. You can see the minimal scarring. This was actually my son. This was the one that got me involved with the CDC, got me involved with wound care specialists and infectious disease. This was a gentleman that had gallbladder surgery. When he had his gallbladder removed, he ended up with MRSA and got an internal infection. And so he was on a wound vac for 7 months. And 18 days after, he actually took I actually gave him a solution bottle filled with hypochlorous, and I said, just stick the nozzle in there and spray it and let it sit for 5 minutes. When they change the wound and when they put the wound back in, they'll just suck it all out and just see what it does. 18 days later, I got a call from his ID, his infectious disease doc. He's like, how'd you get rid of it? We went to dinner, started the protocols, and that's how we ended up with different hospitals and wound care stuff. Another person that already had the water machine wasn't using the 2.5. Hey, do you think the water would work? He's actually sitting in a hospital room getting this toe amputated, diabetic ulcer. And he's like, well, do you think it would help if I soaked my toe? I'm like, dude, you're already get the toe cut off. What's it gonna hurt? I got another call from the hospital because 48 hours the day of the surgery, it looked like that. A week it looked like that, and he kept the toe. Gangrenous fingers. And so that's the broad spectrum of everything you can do with that nifty little device sitting on your counter. A little bit about the company. Most people don't know what an OEM company is. That means it's an original equipment and manufacturer. To the best of my knowledge, we are the only OEM, which means we own 100% of all of the process and manufacturing. We don't part it out to the lowest bidder. It's established the market. We are the category king since day one. Everybody that's come on board is competing against us. We have all the Water Quality Association certifications. Sounds really good. Does anybody here actually know what that means? It is the Water Olympics for the international market. They test everything that has to do with water, and we get the gold medal. Everybody else is the runner-up. You know what they say about second place? You're just first in a long line of losers. Anyhow, bottom line, here's the Enagic lineup for you. You want me to go through this? We still rolling kind of where you wanted to go? You haven't really asked a lot.
Yeah, no, because I think I'm watching the comments, and it's so exciting of how excited everyone is. So I'm just letting you roll with it.
I see lots of smiley faces and hearts, so I'm feeling the love.
Yeah, so I think just keep going for now, and then we have some questions, and then what we'll do is we'll start getting a little bit more deeper and more specific later on, like on the following.
Sure.
Yeah, so just keep rocking it.
Cool. All right, well, I'm going to give you what I call the Casarelli method. This is a lady that's in a parallel line, not in my business, but I call it the Casarelli method. It's her description. I was like, ooh, that's brilliant. Stealing the whole thing. So Enagic has a lineup, and the prices range from, I think it's now $1,780, whatever the R unit, up to $5,980. Why can't I buy the cheapest one? Well, you can. Just make sure it's going to do what you want it to do. The SD501 series of machines has been the flagship for the longest time. This ORP of negative 800 means that's the amount of oxygen, hydrogen, and hydroxyl it produces. That's how restructured the water is. All their machines have 7 plates, 230 watts, amperage. It produces 7 types of water, including the 2.5 hypochlorous acid that is FDA levels. That's big. It produces the 11.5 cleaning water and has a 5-year warranty. If you have stainless appliances, this one's prettier for $300. This is the under the counter unit. A lot of people like this. It's sexy for $49.80. I have sold one of these and I'll never sell another one. What I end up doing is if you're going to spend an extra $1,000, you need to step up to the Kangen 8 because it has a minimum increase of negative 100 ORP. The ones that I've tested are over 1,000, but that's just what I've tested. The reason for this is it has 8 plates. So it's literally 20% more powerful. It's 18.6% more powerful. It produces all the same stuff, but you can get one of these fancy little faucets from Ion Faucet and put the K8 underneath the counter. And when you go on vacation, you have 2 little clips and you can actually take the machine with you and go. And if you go on vacation, you will want to travel with your K8. If you don't believe me, go on a vacation once without it. So you can now take it. The under the counter unit, it's there and you're going to sell it with a house. The next level up is the Super. This is what we use for a lot of our big, large restaurant deals. Again, it's got an ORP of negative 800. Has 12 plates, but it divides them. So there's designated 2.5, 11.5 plates and designated drinking water plates. So it's definitely a serious output. We use this for our vets, for our dentists, cleaning companies, a lot of our restaurants, things like that. Now, stepping down the ladder, the Junior. A lot of people start off with this, and the concept has been thrown out that, well, it's a single user machine. No. Yes, it's half the price, but it has an ORP that's half the ORP. Doesn't last as long, doesn't have as much power, but the hypochlorous acid does not actually meet full sterilization requirements. And the 11.5 doesn't clean nearly as well. So you're getting what you pay for. It's not a bad machine, it's a great loaner. Just realize that if I'm dealing with people with health issues and that are all about high performance, so they're all K8 people. Further down the line is the R unit. I know when I did up this slide, I told you I was digging through stuff. It has an ORP of negative 300. I've actually tested them on a slow fill on water source, upwards or close to 500. No hypochlorous, no 11.5. Big thing here. When somebody says to you, why don't I buy an Echo Life tie-in water ionizer? Well, they're tremendously overpriced. They're cheaper than the Kangen machine. No, they're not. They're way more expensive. Oh, no, the ST501 is like $4,000. Well, that machine doesn't compare to the ST501. It compares to the R unit because their machine doesn't produce hypochlorous acid. If you just want drinking water, that's fine. Oh, it says it does 2.5. I know, it produces Dasani. Dasani is 2.5, but you can't sterilize any wounds with it. Oh, yeah. This machine is the equivalent of what everybody's comparing to, except it has better warranty and better plates. Now where it gets really fun. I'm not gonna lie, I bought my Anespa a year and a half ago. I've been in Enagic for 6 years. It was an overpriced chlorine filter. It just was. Why do I need one? I've got a house filter, I've got chlorine filters. Until I went and bought for another friend that's in another line, Matt Miller up in Ohio. And we were getting ready to go take showers. Go, oh, no, you gotta use our bathroom, it's got the Anespa. Matt, you're on a well. He goes, yeah. And I'm like, yeah? He goes, don't you know what this thing does? Maybe not. It filters chlorine. He goes, no, man, it's got rocks in there and the rocks make you better. Okay. We'll roll with that. It is the only one of its kind. in the world. It's not a category king. It's not a competitive with anybody else. It is the only one in the world. Period. If you have, I don't know if I've got pictures. I do. Okay. So we'll talk a little bit about the chlorine for a second. Remember that iodine antagonist. And if you soak in a hot tub, a bathtub, a swimming pool, go to the gym in the hot tub, and you sit in that water for 10 minutes, that is the equivalent of drinking a quart of pool water. That's how much chlorine you absorb through your skin. So we're going to just take that out because that's the minimum of what it does. Tap water, baths, shower, pools, facilities, hot tubs, you name it, not to mention rinsing your foods. There you go. Almost a quart of tap water. There's these Futamata radium hot springs. I don't know, I bought a shower unit because it was part of the trifecta. If you have psoriasis, eczema, open wound, diabetes, any skin condition, cut, wound, or otherwise, in Japan, they'll send you to the Futamata hot springs because it's got this radium tufa, which rebuilds your skin from the inside out. Well, Mr. Oshira thought that was pretty cool, so he bought mineral rights to the radium hot springs, and those minerals are actually in the Anespa. Here's the filter, here's the ionizer, but this right here rebuilds your skin, and it gets deep into the skin, and you get to have it in your own home. This is why it's so critical to your health. Your skin is your largest organ, and it connects you to every part of your environment. If you go look on YouTube, Dr. Michael explains chlorine, soda and chlorine, you'll see where I have somebody stick their fingers in the water for 60 seconds, they pull it out and their body's absorbed all the chlorine. Well, if you're immersed in that, you're getting massive doses of chlorine. Well, you become really sensitive, but what happens is the chlorine doesn't just go here. It wicks down these hair follicles all the way deep into the skin, and you're actually sterilizing this, which means your hair is going to fall out. Now it's absorbed into the bloodstream and it's affecting your thyroid. I literally had been doing the pulsed electromagnetics, the laser, the nutrition. Heck, I even tried our super powerful prenatal. My hair was falling out. 6 days later, we bought this Anespa thing because Abby said we were. My hair stopped falling out. It was the bleach in the water. Our water in Atlanta is horrific. Anyhow, true story. But now we use it for thyroid issues. Why? If you got a low thyroid, you can't be in water. You have to have it. Skin cancer, rashes, it's part of our protocols. Does it cure these things? No, it doesn't cure these things. But it definitely takes care of the chlorine poisoning and reestablishes the skin levels. My skin's better, my hair is better, my acne's gone, my sleep better, my skin's no longer got that ashen, nasty look. It's just healthier all the way. Yeah, and you own it. Most of you already have it. Way too much information on competition. This is actually a really big deal right here. Cleaning your machine, literally, I won't own a machine that I can't clean because we had all the old plates. And remind me when we get to do another one of these things, and I'll break out some of the old plates and housings and tubes and show you what's in other machines. I won't own a machine I can't manually clean. A lot of people are like, oh, well, we can clean it, and they have to manually clean theirs and send it off, and ours is just better. Ours gets no calcium on the plates. Every one of those statements is true. When your little machine beeps every 15 minutes of use, all it's doing is reversing the polarity. It's the same thing when you put beauty water on, blows calcium off the plates. Ask them about mold and mildew in the lines. And they go, what? The mold and the mildew in the lines. I don't know what that means. You can't leave your coffee pot for a weekend and not get mold and mildew start to build up in your line, curing, and you get the little film in there and all that. Yeah, that's what happened. So you're manually cleaning it, not for the plates. You're manually cleaning it so that you get all the nicks, crannies, crevices, tubes, fittings, plastic hosings, everything. They degrade, and we actually have the pictures that shows you the mold in the lines, and that's where our kids were getting sick from. That's why I was opposed to water machines. The best part is a Magic for $40. You just send it in, and they'll deep clean that machine. And when they deep clean it, yeah, I know there's like this, oh, you can hook it up and you can run, Zep through it and stuff, and it cleans it, which is good. But I know Hector, and he's like, oh no, man, we take that thing apart, we check the fittings, we check the hoses, and if something's wrong, we replace it, send it back. Why? Because the machine's crap? No. Source water is crap. I hate to tell you this, you guys, but if you're on that West Coast, you got all that deuterium crap coming into your water supply. You got just bad water. I mean, it has nothing to do with the machine or the quality. It's the water sources. They're just horrible. Oh, pictures of plates. SD501. All of these should be mirror shiny. This is 6 years old. This was the Royal water filter that we were using. And you can see this gray stuff. That's where all the platinum flaked off, gave us heavy metal toxicity. Yes, thank God I have a wellness clinic. And this was the same color, but it was the Jupiter machine. Kind of got a little hot, burned the blades. Let's not talk about that. There you can see more mold, see the plates, see the scum in there. There's another one, you can see all the mold in the housings, mold in lines. That's tasty. Nothing like something from a bad chest cold on your water spigot. So there's a lot of hype that goes into it, and we can do a whole explain the competition in detail if you want later. But we're getting this in restaurants now. If you're ever in Cincinnati, best restaurant, tell them Dr. Michael's telling you this is Tim. He's a chef that helps us out from time to time with some of our big corporate sales. Little Prayer, a lot of restaurants, the Kangen Cafe, that's kind of cool. We're getting it into some large agricultural places as well as cleaning companies. This is when we went to Japan. This is when we met you. There's a reason why it's an adjunct in everyone else. It's the industry standard. But we have superior maintenance, superior cleaning, the best plates, the best power supply, the longest history, the most types of water that are actually produced, and the solution that produces hypochlorous acid. We are the only ones that can say that. Nobody else can. So we've talked about the Inesmo, we've talked about the K8. When we make our professional recommendations to people, we do all three products, not because it's a really good business model, but people are going to get them anyways. I don't want you to be toxic. I want you to put the best water you can in. I want you to clean your fruits and veggies, sterilize things, be good. And then we add in the Yukon. Gonna hit the highlight. You want me to hit Yukon, or you want me to answer questions first, Balazs?
I love this so much because this is like still very much scratching the surface of what is
you said highlights.
Already. The best part about this is it's not a pitch to like buy it because they already own it, and now they're like, oh shit, like it's like having an iPhone or a smartphone and only using it to call grandma and like nothing else, right? It's like does a lot.
It's like having an iPhone and then you get a Droid.
Damn it! I knew that was coming. We're not having that discussion.
It's okay. I've done the research.
But iPhone all the way. But anyways, so what I want to get into right now is I think we're going to do some questions on the water, and then we'll do a separate. I don't know how long your Yukon.
I can do this in 5 minutes if you want. Hit the highlights.
Let's knock this out in 5 minutes and then do questions.
Done.
So I want you guys to, if you asked the question a long time ago, instead of me scrolling back to find it, can you guys post your question? Not yet, but when we say post your question, so that's going to be after the Yukon part of this. I want you to post your question one more time one question per person, and hopefully we can get it through. But if you have more, we'll just address it on a later training or video. And yeah.
I'll interject. If you know that we already talked about it, watch the replay. Give people that, like, if we missed something, information, and let's try not to keep it to treatment protocols. If you have a question on treatment, it's Michael R. Donaldson on Facebook. You can message me. We've got the Energetic Lifestyle Board. I mean, you can, for that aspect of like, how do I treat that? We don't need to be getting into treatment protocols on a big board. We can hit the highlights. I just want to interject that because.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. So what we'll do is you continue. Like I said, guys, as soon as we say, let's see your questions in the chat, copy and paste something you asked before, and I'll go through it one by one. And if we already covered it, I'll just say, watch the replay or whatever. I recommend watching the replay anyways, because if this is the first time you're hearing a lot of this stuff, you probably missed like 80% of it just because we're going pretty quick. So watch it a few times, tag your teams in this chat in the comments, because this replay is going to stay inside the private GPM Facebook group and it's not going anywhere. So you'll have the ability to, as soon as you bring someone on board with a trifecta or one of the products, add them into this group. As soon as we accept them, then right away just tag them in the comments of this video, and they'll be able to kind of get all the same value and information right away. So continue. Thanks so much.
You'd wait till I put chocolate in my mouth. All right. Health benefits of turmeric. It's actually the curcumin that helps. It's been around for thousands of years with lots and lots of research to it. There are university studies. There's nearly 6,000 research articles across the board. It is one of the most researched alternative therapies there are, if it's not the most clinically researched. Here's a problem with turmeric. It's such a massively powerful antioxidant that if you go buy these and you open the jar and you set it and you shake it out and then you seal the lid on it, in about 48 hours, it's lost more than half of its potency. So it's useless. When you go buy the little capsules and you open it and you got the jar because you bought it at GNC because it was way cheaper, it's ineffective by the end of the week. It's just the way that turmeric is. That's a big problem. And so Enagic saw an opportunity and they jumped on it. And they've really done a bang up job with it because they figured out the oxidation stress component. But they've also made the most, I can't say the word organic because it's listed as a natural and it's got some things that aren't necessarily organic, but it's the purest form of turmeric in the world that I've currently found. And look. It's got a bunch of really good stuff involved with it. We've seen some Rouleau factor, which is where your blood levels clump. Taking Ukon with 11.5, that's the blood change in 10 minutes. If you look at this little stack right here, you could have 10 blood cells. They should each carry 4 molecules of oxygen, we'll say. Well, right here, it's only going to put 2 here and 2 here because it's all stacked up, and that's the only place it can carry. When they pop back up, think of these as donuts stacked up, and they're tennis balls. They should be these big bally round things that roll around. Well, 10 of these cells will carry 40 molecules when they're expanding. If they're stacked, it only carries 4. If you put 100 of them stacked, it's only going to carry 4. And so that's where you get your nutritional deficit. You don't want to know. In 2013, we had the opportunity to go to the Okinawa and actually walk through the turmeric fields. They irrigate with spring and fall turmeric, and they have different properties, and it's really quite amazing. We got to see the processing plants. This is the 11.5 and the 2.5 for processing. That's actually saline solution. That's the solution they use to make the good stuff. This is the vat where they process it. So you have a very, very pure organic. They actually mow down and process forests in Okinawa to get uncontaminated soils. In other words, soils that haven't been like used and depleted. They got fresh forest soil, all the loam. They even create all of their own fertilizers and everything. So there's no pesticides. It is as pure as it can possibly be. No chemicals ever, not even in processing. Processed, sterilized with a 2.5, soaked in 11.5 to reduce the oxidative stress. That was the other thing that I forgot to mention. If you take go get organic fruits and veggies, take the lettuce, wash it at 11.5. I don't know about you, but our organic lettuce lasts about 3 days. If you wash it at 11.5, you'll get 2 or 3 weeks, which that's what they do with the turmeric because it'll last long. So it is literally the most sterile, controlled environment for producing the raw turmeric that there is available. Again, though, the biggest problem that they had was oxidation. These individually packed things prevent the oxidative stress. If these were all loose in a jar and you got a month's worth in a jar, it'd be oxidized in the first week and it'd be useless. The packaging and then the shell coating is where the patent came in. There's a liquid inside this, but the soft gel reduces the exposure. It is the patent process. Now you can break into the fact that they've got all the teas. The tea does not have all the other components. I'm getting there. It doesn't have all the other olive oils and B12s, BC, but it is the purest form of turmeric available. I actually do probably more of the tea than I do of the capsules. And anybody with like a fibromyalgia or arthritis, some chronic inflammatory thing, I have found the tea to be overwhelmingly powerful. So I haven't done the soap yet, but I don't want to smell like ginger either. So I don't know.
So I'm going to jump in for a sec. The soap is the same as you thought about the Inespa, bro. Like really? I got a soap at one of the conventions or events or something, like in a goodie bag for free, and Magic hooked us up. And like that soap is freaking unreal. It's like, man, just try it. Honestly, like that combined with an Inespa shower, you'll literally order it in your next Yukon. Like you'll get soap, trust me. It's that good. It just makes
from the mouth of blush.
It makes your skin just feel incredible. So like if you have extra capsules and then you can change it to like the combo pack, like 50-50 tea and soap kind of thing, definitely try that out. I think you'll enjoy it, especially if you have sensitive skin.
Cool. Sounds good. Skipping ahead. I think that we've covered everything. That's what we do.
That was amazing, man. I'm so pumped. There's so many questions in here. Like we're just going to bang out a whole bunch of them. So I'm going to go in order of them dropping right now. So if you guys have questions, now's the time to post. We're not going to get through all of them. I'm sure you guys got a lot, but we're going to try to bang them out as quick as we can and get as many of these questions answered that you guys have. So go ahead and ask away now. But the big thing that I want to kind of share with you guys is I believe, so the reason why once you become successful, so let me rewind a little bit. Once you become successful in your own definition, like I'm referring to financial success, in the regards of like you're no longer stressed about money, your bills are covered, et cetera. And then obviously the sky's the limit from there. You'll find that a lot of opportunities come your way. You have social media always promoting, pitching different things, right? So it's kind of like easy to get distracted. And we talk about this in the business focused GPM group on the Monday night calls, but I want to kind of also talk about it from the product standpoint. And what I mean by that is once you become a marketer, once you become a business owner, once you become good at sales, you can do anything, right? You can get into real estate, you can sell jewelry, you can sell anything really. Once you know how to sell and market and understand business, there's so many things that you can do. But the reason why I'm dedicated to this company long-term, like plant my flag, not going nowhere, not getting distracted to other network marketing opportunities, affiliate opportunities and all that, because there are many other great opportunities out there, right? It's not like this is the only thing. However, when you look at all the different pieces and you analyze it and you're an entrepreneur and you understand business, the thing that gets me the most excited, especially with the growth that we're having and the explosive sales that we're producing, is that we're getting these products into people's lives. Now, as you experience tonight, this is just like the tip of the iceberg in terms of value, in terms of knowledge, in terms of education. But the fact of the matter is people have this in their lives. And whether you fully get it, it doesn't mean you're not getting the benefits from it. Like if you're drinking enough 9.5 every day because you understand that you need to be hydrated, you don't need to understand the science behind what's going on in your body and why it's doing what it's doing to get the value from it, the benefits from it. So I just love the fact that we're getting these products into people's lives. Most of them are financially motivated in the beginning because they're looking for opportunity, they're looking for business. That's what our marketing focuses on. But the idea that we have this movement that is happening all over the world, especially with the power of the internet and our systems and all the things that we've added to this to like supercharge a magic for the way we do stuff, you're literally saving people's lives in different ways, not as a cure, not as a solution end all be all, like Dr. Michael said at the very beginning. This is just one piece, and it happens to be the biggest piece, right? If your body is 72% water and we're solving the water problem with this piece, we're, in my layman's terms, way of understanding it, we're solving 72% of the problem that people are having. And then you got to add the other pieces to get the full experience. So we're building something that is so huge, but we're also saving people's lives. And the thing that I fantasize about, which is kind of funny, but I fantasize about the fact that we don't know how long someone's life expectancy is without this water, without the UConn, without the Nestle. We can't quantify something like that. Yeah, there's the average statistics of like people at 75, whatever, like, whatever the number is. But what if we're adding 5 years, potentially maybe, what if we're adding 5 years of quality life to someone's life when they invest in this down the road, like way down? Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I'm gonna interrupt. I'm a solid, I lift. I'm a 198 we're gonna say I'm 200 pounds. And I've got really dense muscle mass. Obviously I had some chocolate. I don't live the perfect lifestyle. I live a very strong anti-age lifestyle. But if you look at my body as that aquarium that we're talking about, I'm approximately 19 gallons of water. And so I can either have tap water, or I can have 11.5, 9.5 water, high oxygen content, high hydrogen content, brain working amazingly. But I drink a gallon of water a day. That means that every 19 days, I replace 72% of my body with brand new parts. If you had a car and they said, we will replace 72% of the parts in your vehicle every 2.5 weeks for a couple bucks, that's a deal. You know, and we don't look at our bodies as a machine. And Balazs, you are dead on the money. I get pitched 3 products a week because of Dr. Michael Explains, and we're into health and wellness. We use a couple of very key products, but we use them as a product for our clients. We're not building a business. You can go and get stuff from us, but we're not building a business, because the reality is everybody else's business model, to put it blunt, sucks. There's it's literally feed the top, and Magic is about, and I don't know how many here know Mr. O, but he really had a position where he wanted to bring money to the masses. And, you know, we live, you know, in America, whether it's the US or it's British Columbia, this is northern, we got it pretty good. You go look in Malaysia, you go look in different parts of, and it's just a different level of poor. And he's literally changing the world with these people, with his product, with his opportunity. There is no product on the market. You can look at anybody, and I'll get these hustles, and it's really, really amazing. And I always entertain them. I always have them come because I want to meet with them, because they're going to look at my comp plan and go, I'm in. It's like, yeah, you get how much? Ooh, you get 3.5%, 4 levels deep, and you get 7% here, and you get another. I'm at 42% of my sale. I get 57% on this one. You get what? Yeah, every 100 sales, I'm putting $200,000 in the bank. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, I mean, yeah, and everybody's getting better because of the thing. Did want to interject on the 9.5 though. If you have people that get queasy on the 9.5, they're most likely an A blood type, and switch them to 8.5. But yeah, there's no network marketing that has a comp plan that comes anywhere near close to this. And the fact that you're literally saying people, when I retired to start doing this more online, people are like, oh, you're just in it from the money. And I'm like, here's my daughter. We're just we'll start there. And then just say, you know what? At one point, we had a lot of people hijacking our stuff. And I told you way back when I worked, I did stuff for you that you're the only person that I have that has authorized Dr. Michael Explains stuff outside of me. I mean, we're just buddies, and you're like asking. I'm like, cool, then I'll do presentations for people, but we had over 1 million hits. As a physician, I could not help that many people. And I told Balazs, I said, with his system and what you guys are in, your ability to literally impact the world is beyond your imagination. You know, we all hit the marketing thing. We all are like, we're split testing, which I suck at, by the way. We need to work on that. But you know what? How many people are marketing to India strong? That's a country that's desperate. I mean, it's everywhere. And I can do it from here. Or, you know, I wouldn't do it in the Maldives either because, you know, there's no signal. It's the pool. But I do appreciate you rubbing my nose in it with your Instagram. Sorry, I just had to interject that.
No, you touched on a lot of amazing points. And that's kind of what I was getting at with our ability to have a global prosperity movement. And the original vision for that was to be able to impact people with their health and their freedom and their prosperity and their finances and all that. And there are lives absolutely transforming right now in our community with people that, you know, 4 or 5 months ago were dead broke and they did $100,000 in commissions in 4 months. Like from zero. to no internet marketing, no network, like no experience to like, boom, 6 figures in 4 months. Like that's incredible results. But we haven't even tapped into the Asian markets and the really poor places where you're talking about, which there's already so many people in Magic has helped offline, traditionally sharing the water, sharing the stories, the testimonies and so forth. And those lives, like 10,000 a month in those countries is like 100,000 a month here for us, if not more, like compared to their cost of living and whatnot.
You know Gary Gann, right?
Yeah.
$3,600 a year.
Yeah, he's way over 100 grand a month now, US.
$3,600 a year was great money. I'm like, that gets me to Tuesday?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. We're extremely blessed. And all I want to do now when it comes to the products side of things, along with your help, thank you for that, is just really understand how special this is, how if you plant your flag here as a business, not only can you transform so many lives all over the world, you can transform your own life. And then once you are taken care of, once your family's taken care of, then you can do amazing things. You can give back and you can, really impact the world. And that's what we're doing, right? Everything right now is transitioning into like the more success stories we have, the more 6 and 7 figure, 8 figure earners we have, the bigger splash we can contribute and give back. So let's get into some of these comments real quick. I want you to rapid fire answer on the ones that you can answer quickly. So we'll start with, I can't even scroll back. So we'll have to start with, oh yeah, by the way, guys, any of the questions regarding health, like protocols, like so-and-so has this sickness, what do I do? Does the water help? Is it a cure? Those kinds of questions, anything to do with that specific, we're not answering on this call. We don't make those kinds of claims. Just message Dr. Michael. He's tagged already in this chat. Just message him, reach out to him, have a chat, and we'll touch on some of the more basic stuff. So Ukon has anti-inflammatory properties. Yes or no?
Yes.
Cool. So you guys can get the list of ingredients for Ukon. Someone asked that question as well. Just Google it, Ukon ingredients list. You'll find that exact sheet. That's straight from Enagic. If you're using your kangen for making your coffee or your tea, does it change because of the heat? Does it affect the water?
4 properties of the water being hydrogen and oxygen. They're a gas. They disperse out of the water faster when you heat it. It's just think of it as the effervescence of a soda. If you take the cap off and leave it, the gases get out first.
So it's beneficial if you consume it right away, or what's?
Yeah, it is, but I mean, it's just going to boil it off. The real questions you want to ask are, okay, so I've been out partying all Saturday night. I've had too much to drink. And if I drink 24 ounces of water, will I really be sober in 6 minutes? Yeah. Path of breathalyzer test. You want to improve your single malt Scotch whiskey? Take your 9.5 ice cubes. So I've been out.
Sorry, that's me.
Yeah. Do 9.5 ice cubes, and you'll literally change the pH. No hangover.
So if someone was making like a coffee, let's say, and they used Kangen water to make the coffee, and then they added a little bit of fresh Kangen after the coffee was made to like top it off, would that add extra benefit?
Yeah. You're going to use a lot less coffee, so you're going to get the same saturation rate. I don't really look at when you add anything to the water, you're diminishing ultimately the returns. Like, people that put like those little Crystal Light, just poisoning yourself. Don't do it.
I just mean for coffee and tea made with Kangen, that's all I'm talking about.
Yeah. With the heat, it's going to disperse the hydrogen and the oxygen. But other than that, it maintains it. When you freeze it, the hydrogen and oxygen are going to get bound.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. What would you suggest for someone who has bad acid reflux? It kept going too quickly, so I don't know what the rest of it was.
Okay, the way the protocol for the water is, the reason people get acid reflux, there's a couple things. One, get a chiropractor to reset your stomach because it gets jacked up and it knuckles through so the valve doesn't close. But another reason that people have acid problems is because they're dehydrated and they don't drink until they eat something, and then the lining of the stomach hydrates, and it takes about 20 or 30 minutes for it to release the acid, but the food's been pushed through to the small intestine. So drink 8 to 12 ounces of 9.5 a half hour before you eat.
Awesome. What are the best machines to help heal cancer? Obviously, that's not an appropriate question, but
the K8 has
the K8, right?
The K8 has the highest, any type of physiological condition. The best machine on the market is the K8 because it has the highest ORP. It has the highest hydrogen, oxygen, hydroxyl. And if you message me, there's a lot we can do with that. That's kind of a specialty of ours. 9 years, we've only lost one terminal. So 2 terminal patients.
Okay. So there's a few people who've asked specifically about cancer, what they need to do. So I'll have them to message you directly. Guys, some of your questions got buried because I can only see back so far. So if I haven't covered it yet, quickly pop it in the top again. Any like specific health conditions, guys, we're not covering it on this. You have to message Dr. Michael one-on-one and he can help you. So I'm not even going to cover those.
That's a good question. How fast does the water degrade? The water has what's called an exponential half-life of 24 hours. So when you pour water on Monday, it's an ORP of 800. On Tuesday at the same time, it's 400. On Wednesday, it's 200, 100, etc. So your fresh water right out of the R unit or the junior unit is the same as water out of your K8 2 days old.
Gotcha. Can this machine go in tattoo shops?
Yeah.
And how, like, I think the question is like, does it work with the tattoo process, etc.?
I don't know, but you could use it for sterilization for sure.
Awesome. Is Ukon a natural blood thinner?
Curcumin is, no, it changes the properties. It's not a blood thinner.
Okay, so changes the properties of the blood?
Yeah, it's going to boost it's going to increase your immune system. There are some turmeric products out there that have additives that are less than ideal, but Ukon doesn't have them.
Cool. People are asking if they're consuming 5 Ukon per day, the capsules, what's the ideal way to take them all at once, split it into morning, evening? Like, what do you recommend in that regard?
Well, we do a lot of nutrition. In our office, we do a lot of biofeedback work, and we can actually measure your body and see what you've got, and we create homeopathics. I have personally found that I just do half and half every 12 hours. Just because it works better.
Okay, so split it half and half.
As a rule, yeah. Some people are like partially dehydrated in the morning, so if you do it first thing, you're going to get a bigger kick. But I do half and half every 12 hours as a rule.
So if they could do like 3 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon to make it a little different.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Have you ever helped someone with severe MS, an MS patient?
Yeah, we're actually our MS we had that conversation today about stuff. We've actually got MS patients that are coming out of wheelchairs now. Water plays a big part in it. But yeah, we've got a lot of MS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's patients that are literally having their lives changed completely.
So Rachel, reach out to Dr. Michael and he can share what he's doing. I just wanted to ask if it's helped and he said yes. So Rachel, please reach out to him. Edward is asking about the slides. We're going to be probably able to have those slides inside the file section if Dr. Michael was cool with that. If not, that's fine as well.
Well, you're going to have all this all going to be done in a Q&A. I don't usually give out my presentations.
Okay, yeah, so there won't be slides, but there'll be the videos chopped into like Q&A short videos. At what age can the Ukon be taken? Like, is it good for kids too? 10-year-old?
Yeah, I don't know about the soap. That sounds really interesting. Children, there's a big debate on that. Actually, a child lacks digestive enzymes till they're 9 months old, but a lot of people want to now you get into the whole nursing versus I'm going to use formula versus da 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 da. You're going to create digestive issues later in life if you start feeding a child anything other than breast milk before 6 months. You just are. I know that's not a popular statement, but it's just a fact. I would wait till they were a year.
So after a year, Ukon would be okay?
I would wait a year.
Because they're asking about a 10-year-old. So 10-year-olds for sure cool?
Yeah.
Okay. Someone is asking if someone's drinking Kangen 8.0, or I guess 8.5, and it increases their acid reflux pain, what pH should they change to or when to drink it?
Email me.
Email.
Message
Tammy,
me.
you're not listening. Jesus, you keep getting me with your health questions. Okay, someone is saying, we live on an acreage with super high pH levels in our source water. We already have the K8 set to its lowest level and we are still too high to really benefit from it. What can we do to fix this? Is there a product we can add to the K8 to get our pH in the right range?
Wow, now you've just opened Pandora's box. Yeah, the fracking is messing up the water tables. And even our well waters now are getting really, really trashed. Sometimes you can look in the thing and there's a cartridge that says calcium. That is for people that just have absolutely horrible water.
Okay.
Water is becoming a big issue.
So yeah, you can reach out to Dr. Michael. I don't know if there's a specific thing for you, but there's something, I guess.
Yeah.
If you have a water softener in your house, will it affect the Anespa?
No.
Okay. There's no under-the-counter unit for the K8. There's a separate SD501 model that is for under-the-counter. However, it's from what I've heard from people, I've never owned one, but from what I've heard, the on-counter models are better. Is that right?
I don't use the under-the-counter models. I use the K8, and you can go to Ion Faucet, Product Faucets, and they've got a little thing. And they actually have a connector that's designed for the K8, so you can put the K8 underneath the counter and you just have a spigot.
I heard that wasn't good for the water flow to like somehow go back underneath gravity, some shit. I don't know. Is that right?
No, what they had is they had an issue with, because of the way the machine sits, it normally drains.
Anyways, I got mine on the counter. It looks sexy as hell.
If you're cleaning on a regular basis, it doesn't matter.
Cool. Does fluoride be eliminated from the machine?
All right. Technically, the legal answer is no. It is not filtered out. The reality is fluoric acid, chlorine, all those things are acids. And so while some of them are filtered out, the vast majority of them come out the acid line. Now you're still going to get some to come out of the alkaline line. However, it's going to come pre-bound with hydroxyl anions to neutralize it.
Nice. I didn't know that. That's awesome. Does the hypochloric acid kill good bacteria as well?
Yes.
Yes. Is the 9.5 water okay for children and babies?
Yes. Saved Skylar's life.
Absolutely. Can the 11.5 water be used to sterilize hockey gear? I think you mean 2.5, but
2.5 you can degrease it with 11.5, sterilize it with there was a question that passed, how much can you 11.5 can you drink? I don't recommend anybody drink 11.5 unless we're monitoring them. There's this thing, oh, drink a gallon of 11.5 if you have, no, because the byproduct of HOCl, which is the hypochlorous acid, is HNA. And that can break down your cell membrane. So you don't want to be drinking a lot of that. We do it on a controlled basis for a limited period of time for obvious reasons. But, there's people, I drink 5 glasses of 11.5, or yeah, you're going to have issues. There's a reason why they say don't drink it. Now, the interesting thing is you can pull the saline cartridge out and go with a slow fill, and you can get some really, really, really high numbers without the cartridge. It just goes beep, 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 please.
So is that just has a higher ORP if you remove the cartridge and go really slow drip? So would that be a wise move to do that like regularly?
That's what we do instead of giving 11.5.
Okay.
You get a little extra kick.
So would that also reduce the overall amount of water you got to drink for your daily consumption if you're doing that? No, it just has a higher kick to it, or like more potent.
Yep.
Nice. Maybe try my coffee with that one. What is the proper way to use the beauty water spray daily? What are the benefits of the beauty water setting?
Just turn that spigot up, turn it on, and just clean the floor later.
I love the beauty water, man. It's amazing. Stephanie, you're asking health-related questions, so message Dr. Michael. Tammy says babies should only drink alkaline water once they are on solid foods since they are born alkaline. That's back to the whole thing about it's not regular alkaline water, it's alkalized water, right?
Alkalized, yeah. It's hydroxyl. It's the, yeah, you get into the ketogenic state that they're high alkalinity. The reality is if they're drinking any form of water, it's the best water you can drink. That's usually
alkaline water and kangen water are not the same thing in terms of properties.
Correct.
So that is
cool trick. True, really cool trick. So Essentia is a bottled water. It's the highest alkaline water you can buy in a bottle. So go buy a bottle of alkaline water and take the cap off and slowly start to pour it, and use a cigarette lighter to set it on fire. It won't do anything. Now turn on your kangen machine. Wait, I'm not sure I can do this. I'm not sure what my kitchen looks like. Let's see here.
Tammy, you upset the bear now. The bear has stood up and gone to the kitchen.
I don't think you're going to be able to hear it. No idea where the mic is on this thing. Can you hear it popping?
No.
Well, if you go do this, it's going.
Yeah, it crackles. Yeah, that's you guys can all try that. It works really good. Ben says, does freezing the water destroy the properties, aka kill the water?
No. Makes your scotch way better though. Or in your case, the Canadian whiskey.
11.5 for weight loss, question mark.
Hey, Carolyn. She's from down under, right? I met her in Vegas.
She's from down under, that's right.
Yeah, I don't do that.
So answer is no.
No, 9.5. Like, I don't recommend 11.5. People drink 7.5 unless it's
Monitored, yeah.
yeah.
How about my 88-year-old grandma taking Ukon?
Go Granny. My mom's 83.
Okay.
By the way, from anti-aging, how old is it you think I am? Oh, he's going, shit, that's a trick question.
Samantha says, do you have a library of testimonials available to the public?
No.
No. We want to stay as far away from that as possible.
I don't even have a website.
Yeah, in general, we want to stay away from it as well.
No, my people that do what we do get their clinics miraculously burned down, and I'll have a heart attack by accident. I'm not sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. We don't want to mess with that beast. We've already answered the baby question multiple times. You guys keep asking, so I'm just assuming that you already know we answered it. Watch the replay.
All right, so one of them here, our basic health issue, but we recommend. Our protocols are, we get everybody on the water. That's the first thing we do. And then we start them eating ketogenically according to their blood type. And we really calm down 90% of problems like that, 80 to 90% of problems, because people aren't designed to eat grains, pastas, starches, cereals. It destroys the digestive tract. If you are a B blood type, for instance, and you eat chicken and corn, you're going to suppress your immune system. If you are a O blood type like me and you eat dairy or grains, you're going to be horrible. People that are the vegetarians that look like cancer patients, they're O blood types because their body needs massive protein. If they're an A, they're hey, give me all the fruits and veggies, a little bit of dairy, a little bit of grains is fine, light on the protein. So that's an app you can download, but you just start going, okay, here's the best water. These are the foods that my body uses. I'm going to avoid the inflammatory stuff. Most people don't eat enough quality fats because your brain is mostly water, but tons of fats. So that handles a lot of your health questions, but yeah, just get in touch with me. I'm online. I'm linked in here somewhere, so that'll help.
Cool. So I think we got almost everything. Nate says, why doesn't RO work with kangen machines?
RO water isn't fit for human consumption. It's designed for coastal countries that have a water shortage because it'll filter out all the garbage. And what they do is they take 10 gallons of water to make a gallon of completely sterile water. And then once they get 10 gallons of it, they add back in a gallon of filtered seawater to get all the minerals, the nutrients, and all that stuff added back in. Your RO units that go under your sink, if there's any way around it, don't use them because you will develop health issues because they leach all the minerals. And I know that people, it's going to be mineralizer. Your body only needs so much potassium, calcium, and magnesium. It needs all the salts. It needs all the cell salts. It needs all the zincs, the metals. And so when you go with an RO, unless you are in a place like Flint, Michigan, RO all the way, baby, because the water is just horrible. If you can avoid it, don't do it. RO in the clinical research literature was actually formulated to have a 14-day treatment protocol, especially for people with like dialysis, and don't drink it for more than 21 days. Now people are like, it's the most sterile water you can drink. Correct. Take RO, don't remineralize it, stick your feet in a tub of water and throw your hairdryer in there. You won't get electrocuted. It won't carry a current. Your body's bioelectric. John,
Damn, son.
John Swartstrom out of Seattle's got a great little light bulb demo thing. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but he actually sticks two electrodes in it and it won't light up the light bulb with RO water.
Wow. You just took the RO mic and dropped it. So I think we're almost done here. Someone's saying we are on rainwater, so we got to be in good hands. True or false?
False.
False. John, false, man. I thought you got me there.
Rainwater. Come on, people. You know what chemtrails are, right? Where do you think that stuff comes down in? You got to be careful with well water, rainwater. You got to have it all tested. Rainwater is not that pure. And you're like, well, I don't see any chemtrails. It's all over the world, and we spin in it. It has to do with the solar flares and the breakdown in the ozone. We'd all be extra crispy by now if we hadn't had the chemtrails. They're a necessary evil. It's not a plot to sterilize humanity. But, you know, the sun is in the worst phase, and so we need those things, but it does contaminate your rainwater. Plain and simple.
Is beauty water pretty much the same water that comes out of the Nespa?
No.
Some guesses on your age: 35, 45, 40s, 42, 40.
I'm older than all of those.
Oh shit! Kangen water strikes again. That's like the go-to. No one ever guesses the age correctly. What's the app for the blood type thing?
Eat right for your blood type.
Pretty self-explanatory. Eat right for your.
It's like $3 or $4. But what happens is a lot of people will have issues.
Someone tried blood type diet for about a month and it was great. Well, why'd you stop?
It worked good. You know, we have the most advanced technological nutritionals that you can possibly get. And I prefer people to eat right rather than take supplements. And I'm glad to sell them to you. But, you know, if you drink great water, you eat good foods, you know, you've got, you know, there's some amazing superfoods. You and I were talking about it today. There's some amazing superfoods out there. You need the minerals. You need the enzymes and probiotics. If your diet's right and you're getting enough fats for your brain, your inflammation goes down, you know, and it's diet. But you can get away with a lot. Enzymes, probiotics, water, and good food.
Awesome. My 65-year-old mother took the Ukon all 5 at once and said she felt incredibly drowsy and tired.
It could have been feeding decreased portions of the brain. We've got some products now. We're working with our MS and our Parkinson's people, and they usually give people an immense level of energy. But if you've got like, well, I had PTSD from Skylar, I'd take them, and the first thing I'd do is hit the wall and just like sleep for an hour. I'd wake up and feel like a god. But man, I mean, when you can show 30% improvement in your brain function, it's off the hook. But yeah, if you take something like that and you get really, really sleepy, usually there's a chronic condition associated with a desperate need for oils.
Damn. That's not a diagnosis, Chris, but look into it.
No, it's not a diagnosis at all. It's a nutritional component.
So ask Dr. Michael for more information. That sounds really interesting. So what's the guy's name again who did the light bulb thing?
John Swartstrom.
There you go. So I think that's pretty much everything. So we covered a lot, guys. If there's anything that we missed, we'll be happy to cover it in a future video. We're going to get this content we had here chopped up into kind of parts that we can use. Some of it we'll redo, refilm, just to get it more concise and to the point and remove the jokes and all the good times. Maybe not. And then, yeah, so
let me know. We'll do this. I'll let you have every Thursday if you want.
Yeah, I mean, if we got enough stuff to cover on a consistent basis, then I'm open to that as well. So guys, let's thank Dr. Michael for his time. We're almost at the 3-hour mark, which, like I said, we can get a little crazy on these. We never know how long it's going to go. So just thank Dr. Michael. He's doing this out of his
2 hour.
He's really, really excited to be contributing. It was actually on his goals for 2018 to add massive value into the community and share his wisdom and knowledge. And we're super grateful for that, both because you're achieving your goal and also because we're learning a ton from you. So thanks, brother. Appreciate you guys. We'll be on again soon. We'll announce it in the group. In the meantime, share your gratitude, tag your team. Let's get everybody educated and excited of what we really truly have here. Everybody get on point with your water consumption, your UConn. If you don't have an Inespa, put it on your goals list to get one and upgrade your machines and products as soon as you possibly can as your business takes off. And we'll see you guys again real soon, and bye for now.
Love you, man.
One sec, gotta go.